What is up? What is up? YouTube, hey, check this out, man. Check it out. Tyler Perry lawsuit uncovered dark patterns in his films. What? Too strong. That's too strong. I should do. That's 13 minutes. We're gonna do that one at the end of this. Check this out, man. I've been trying to follow this Tyler Perry thing, and God, I'm trying to figure out, real talk, I'm trying to figure out how do people get from like where I'm at, a YouTuber and all this type of stuff, how they get to the next level. It's a big gap, y'all. Somebody got to loan you some money. Somebody got to set you up with the right people to get in the door or over the wall. I used to say over the wall, so we're going to stay with over the wall. But there's something. I'm like, how in the world? Like Rick Ross. I guess this dude was a correction officer. Then all of a sudden he a big time rapper. It's so many of them, and I'm like, cause I'm a producer. I know talent when I see it, and I'm trying to figure how what route did they take? Long story short, Tyler was one of them. He was doing these church plays and all that type of stuff. Then all of a sudden he big time. And just my opinion, Cat Williams was right. If he don't have a dress on, if he ain't playing one of those characters, he can't act. He's not a good actor to me. If you seen Tyler Perry without playing his father, it's a movie on Netflix. Y'all go watch it. And watch when he playing by himself and see what it look like to you. Maybe it's just me, and the whole film. Anyway, man. So David Mann exposes Tyler Perry. He used me. Hidden scandals finally revealed. Oh, shucks. Y'all hit that subscribe button, man. Hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out.
Welcome to Infinite Universe with interesting episode. David Mann had always been known as the cheerful man in the background, the one who made people laugh and brought warmth to the screen. For years, he remained silent, never causing any drama, never stepping out of line, always being supportive. He was the funny man who kept everything together, both on stage and off. But now, after years of keeping things hidden, the truth is finally coming out. And the truth is surprising a lot of fans. People never expected to hear this kind of story, especially not from someone like David Mann, who had always been seen as loyal, respectful, and deeply rooted in faith and family. Tyler Perry, the creator of powerful plays and stories about faith, family, and redemption, was always seen as a positive force in the entertainment world. He rose from being homeless to building an entertainment empire, using characters like media to bring joy and inspiration to millions. But according to David Mann, Tyler was also the one quietly controlling everything, and not in a healthy way. Behind all the laughter, behind the media wig, behind the beautiful gospel music that touched people's hearts, there was another story. A story filled with betrayal, silence, manipulation, and finally, a moment where everything changed. David Mann, the gospel singer and actor who stood beside Tyler Perry for over 20 years, has finally decided to open up about his experience. What he has revealed has left many fans shocked and confused. This isn't just a simple argument between friends or a disagreement over a script. This story involves deep personal hurt, loyalty that was pushed too far, and a spiritual conflict that may have gone unnoticed for years. When David and Tyler first began working together, everything looked perfect on the outside. There was real friendship, a sense of purpose, and what looked like a shared mission to bring something positive into the world. Together, they created unforgettable characters and shows that felt like more than just entertainment. They felt like church, like therapy, like home. David Mann, along with his wife Tamela Mann, became essential to the world Tyler Perry was building. Their performances touched hearts, their songs moved people to tears, and their commitment to the work made them beloved by millions. But behind the scenes, things were not as balanced as they seemed. Tyler Perry was the boss in every way. He wrote the scripts, directed the shows, produced the films, and even acted in the major roles. David, on the other hand, was always the supporting actor, both on screen and behind the curtain. Even though he had helped build the characters and had been there since the very beginning, he was still following someone else's direction, with little say in how things developed. People close to the productions whispered that while Tyler Perry was making millions, David and other early cast members were stuck under old contracts from the stage play days. These contracts didn't give them fair shares in the success of future shows and movies. Yet, David kept going. He kept smiling, kept performing, and never said a word publicly. Was it because of loyalty? Or was it fear of losing everything he had helped build? The turning point came during the production of Meet the Browns, a popular TV show that brought Perry's stage characters into the homes of millions of viewers. On the surface, it looked like a success. The ratings were strong, the fans were happy, and Mr. Brown, played by David Mann, was one of the most loved characters. But behind the camera, things were falling apart. People who worked on the show said that during the third season, something changed. Tyler Perry started shutting people out creatively. He stopped listening to suggestions from the actors, including David. Even though David had created Mr. Brown's personality with years of experience and understanding, his input was ignored. Tyler reportedly rewrote scenes without telling David, even scenes that David had already rehearsed and put his heart into. One insider shared that David had been excited about a scene where Mr. Brown would show a deeper, more emotional side. It was supposed to be a touching moment, showing growth and vulnerability. But at the last minute, Tyler cut the scene, saying it wasn't right for the character. David was devastated. Things only got worse. Tyler started taking credit for creative ideas that had come from collaboration with others. Jokes, scenes, and emotional moments that David had helped shape were suddenly being presented as Perry's work alone. For someone like David, who had been there from the very beginning, it felt like he was being erased from the history he helped create. Finally, David had enough. On a tense day of filming, he confronted Tyler directly. "This isn't the same energy we started with," he reportedly said. "You used to talk about God and about helping people. Now it's just about control. Where do I even fit in anymore?" But instead of offering comfort or understanding, Tyler allegedly responded coldly. "This is my vision," he said. "If you don't like it, there's the door." That moment changed everything for David. Though he remained quiet in public, his heart was no longer in it. He began pulling back from new projects, appearing less frequently, and avoiding deeper involvement. This wasn't just about hurt feelings. David Mann's story was part of a larger pattern. Other actors who had worked closely with Tyler Perry were also quietly stepping away. Cassie Davis, the woman who played Aunt Bam, was suddenly absent from projects. Rumors began to spread that she had also clashed with Perry about the creative direction of the shows. She reportedly wanted the content to stay spiritually grounded, and when it didn't, she pushed back and was pushed out. Patrice Lovely, who played Hattie Mae Love, was another example. She brought energy and humor to every scene she was in, but behind the scenes, she reportedly felt like she was being used more than appreciated. Her concerns were about feeling like she had no say, no voice, and no creative respect. It was a common thread. Then there was Tasha Smith, known for her powerful performances in the Why Did I Get Married films. She went more public than the others, talking in interviews about how hard she had to fight to be treated fairly. She said she often felt boxed in, unable to grow as an artist under Tyler Perry's control. The message was clear: those who spoke up were often sidelined or quietly removed. David Mann had stayed silent the longest, which gave Perry's empire a strong sense of unity and trust in the eyes of the public. David was the face of loyalty, the friend who never complained, the man who always showed up. But that silence may have allowed problems to grow. And now that David has started to speak carefully, indirectly, the truth is beginning to come out. Recently, David appeared on a podcast where he spoke about loyalty in the entertainment industry. He didn't mention names, but his words were clear. "Loyalty without respect becomes servitude," he said. "I gave my loyalty, but I wasn't always respected. There comes a point when even the most faithful person has to draw a line." The moment those words were shared, fans immediately guessed who he was talking about. Social media exploded with speculation. People were asking if this meant Mr. Brown had been taken for granted all these years. Was he just a side character to be used and then forgotten? Some fans went even deeper, wondering if this situation had spiritual meaning. Tyler Perry's work had always been tied to faith, prayer, and God's purpose. If what David was saying was true, then perhaps something had gone wrong along the way. Maybe the success, the money, the control had changed things. Maybe the message had been lost, and the mission forgotten. There's something especially sad about this story because it started with such genuine passion. Both David and Tyler were trying to create something beautiful, something that would inspire people. And they did. Millions of people were moved, entertained, and uplifted by their work. But somewhere along the way, the balance shifted. One voice became louder than the others. One man took full control, and the rest were left behind, unable to grow or be heard. David Mann's journey shows how even the most loyal people have limits. No matter how much faith or love you bring into a relationship, if you're not respected, it slowly begins to break you down. For years, he played the funny man, the sidekick, the comic relief. But behind that smile was a man who wanted more input, more appreciation, more honesty. Even now, David isn't out to destroy anyone. He's not attacking or blaming. He's simply telling the truth in a way that's thoughtful and full of grace. But that truth is powerful. And it raises hard questions about fame, control, and what happens when someone builds an empire on loyalty but forgets to share the credit. As of now, Tyler Perry has not responded directly to David Mann's comments. But the conversation has started. Fans are beginning to look back at the shows and movies they loved and wonder what was really happening behind the scenes. They're asking themselves whether the laughter and inspiration were built on a foundation of silence and control. It's hard to say where things will go from here. Will David and Tyler ever work together again? Will there be healing or just distance? No one knows for sure. But one thing is clear, David Mann's story has opened a door. And through that door, people are starting to see the reality behind the scenes. Not everything that glitters is gold, and not every smile tells the whole story. This story reminds us all to pay attention to the people who stay quiet, the ones who never complain but keep showing up. Because sometimes, those are the people carrying the heaviest weight. And when they finally speak, their truth can shake everything. David and Tamela Mann have always stayed true to their roots in gospel music and ministry. That connection to faith has shaped who they are, even as they stepped into the world of entertainment. But as Tyler Perry's productions started becoming more secular and edgy, it created a deep struggle inside David. He found himself caught in the middle, torn between his loyalty to a longtime friend and his deep spiritual beliefs. People close to the situation say David tried to stay strong, but it wasn't easy. He was wrestling with the conflict between doing what felt right for his soul and staying loyal to someone who had helped build his career. Tamela Mann, known for her incredible voice and unshakable faith, was facing the same emotional battle. While many fans know her from her gospel hits and powerful performances, they may not realize how involved she was in Tyler Perry's early success. She wasn't just playing roles on screen, she was also playing a big part behind the scenes, supporting her husband emotionally and spiritually. As David brought Mr. Brown to life with humor and loud antics, Tamela played the quiet and strong Cora. But off-screen, she was David's anchor. She helped him carry the heavy emotional load that came from feeling left out and creatively stifled. People who know the Manns say Tamela could clearly see the problems. She noticed the shift in Perry's content, more profanity, more sexual themes, and fewer messages about faith. It started to make her uncomfortable. Still, she kept her concerns private, out of respect for David's friendship with Perry and for the many years they dedicated to their audience. But in private conversations, she spoke honestly with her husband. She encouraged him to stay true to who he was, even if it meant stepping away. According to a source who worked closely with them on a gospel tour, Tamela never wanted to cause a scene or burn any bridges. But she also didn't want them to keep walking on a bridge that was falling apart. She once told David, "You don't have to shout your truth, but you do need to live it." That advice stuck with him. Rather than attacking Perry publicly, David slowly and quietly separated himself. He turned his attention to building something new, a brand centered on faith, family, and love. Together, he and Tamela launched their own reality show, created award-winning gospel music, and started developing content that matched their values. These weren't just career moves. They were steps toward freedom. They were reclaiming their message. They were taking back control over what they wanted to say and how they wanted to say it. It was about being able to speak directly to their audience without worrying about someone else filtering or twisting their meaning. But even with all the tension, David and Tamela never said anything bad about Perry in public. Not until recently. During a live Q&A with fans, someone asked Tamela why they don't work with Tyler Perry anymore. Her answer was calm but powerful. She said, "Sometimes when your spirit no longer aligns with the project, it's time to gracefully step away. Doesn't mean there's hate, just means we grow." That one sentence said a lot. Fans understood it as confirmation that the Manns had outgrown Perry, not just in terms of their careers, but spiritually and emotionally as well. David kept quiet for years. He stayed silent through unfair contracts, backstage tension, creative disrespect, and a slow disappearance from Perry's productions. But then, in a recent gospel podcast called Truth Behind the Praise, David finally opened up. He didn't name anyone or lash out. But when the host asked if he'd ever felt like someone used his faith to keep him loyal, David paused. Then he said, "You know what hurts the most? It's not when strangers take advantage of you. It's when people who talk about God, who build their name on morals, look you in the eye and say it's ministry. But really, it's manipulation." The room went silent. Even the host looked shaken. When asked if this person had been close to him, David nodded. Then he said something that broke many hearts. "This was family. I thought we were doing kingdom work, but I realized I was just another piece on someone's chessboard." Social media exploded. Fans instantly connected the dots. They believed David was talking about Tyler Perry, the man known for building a media empire under the image of faith and black empowerment. Suddenly, that image didn't look so solid. Some people began seeing Perry as someone who may have used faith not just as inspiration, but as a tool to control others. So what was the final breaking point for David? People close to the Mann family say it wasn't about money. It wasn't even the disrespect. It was a broken promise, something that felt personal and painful. Back in 2017, Perry had suggested creating a spin-off show focused on Mr. Brown, a character David had brought to life for over 20 years. David was excited. He started writing down ideas. He cleared space in his schedule. He truly believed this would happen. But it didn't. The project vanished. Then, months later, Perry moved forward with another comedy series that looked and felt a lot like what David had pitched, except with a totally different cast. David was left out completely. Worse, people inside said some of David's ideas had been used. That betrayal cut deep. That was the moment David finally walked away. In his words, "This wasn't brotherhood. This wasn't ministry. This was business. And I was just another product." When David shared all this, he wasn't angry. He didn't sound bitter. He sounded like someone who had spent years grieving a lost friendship. He had found peace with the past, and now he was just telling his truth. That calm honesty struck a chord with fans. He wasn't trying to bring anyone down. He wasn't looking for revenge. He was just opening up about something that had weighed on his heart for a long time. Since that interview, the gospel and entertainment world has been talking non-stop. Some celebrities are quietly supporting David's courage. Others are staying silent, likely worried about upsetting Perry, who still holds a lot of power in the industry. But fans aren't staying quiet. They're speaking up. They're thanking David for saying what many have felt for years, that no job, no connection, no opportunity is worth losing your voice or your values. And what about Tyler Perry? So far, he hasn't said a word. No interviews. No statements. No social media posts. Nothing. But sometimes, silence speaks louder than words. People are wondering if Perry is hoping his good reputation as a visionary, a philanthropist, and a leader in black media will protect him from these growing questions. But cracks are starting to show. Other former colleagues are beginning to speak out too. Some are posting vague comments online, things like "finally, someone said it," or "it's time the truth comes out." They don't mention names, but the message is clear: David's truth has opened the door for others to speak theirs. Fans who grew up watching Meet the Browns, House of Pain, and the Media movies are now seeing them in a different light. They're asking questions. They're feeling unsure. Some are even heartbroken. But through it all, David and Tamela aren't looking back in anger. They're moving forward with faith. David isn't tearing anyone down. He's not holding grudges. He's choosing something far more powerful: healing. Since leaving Perry's orbit, he and Tamela have been thriving. Their music careers have reached new heights. Tamela's gospel albums have topped the Billboard charts. Their family brand is stronger than ever. Fans love them not just for their talent, but for their honesty and integrity. They've built something beautiful, something lasting, all on their own terms. At a recent concert, Tamela performed her soul-stirring song "Take Me to the King." David stood beside her not as the funny Mr. Brown, but as himself. A man. A husband. A father. A voice that was finally being heard. After the song, he spoke to the crowd. Sometimes God has to remove you from someone else's spotlight so he can shine one on your truth. The audience erupted. It was more than a concert, it was a testimony. So what's the lesson in all this? David Mann spent years giving his heart and talent to Tyler Perry's vision. He helped build something incredible. But he also carried a lot of pain that no one saw. And when the respect faded and the friendship broke, he made a choice that few in Hollywood are brave enough to make. He walked away with grace. He didn't lash out. He didn't seek fame from his pain. He simply told the truth. And in doing so, he reminded everyone that your voice matters. Your truth matters. Your peace matters. Now, the world is listening. Do you think David stayed silent for too long? Should Tyler Perry speak up? Or is this just the beginning of more voices finally stepping into the light? Whatever side you're on, thank you for taking the time to hear this story. Because behind the headlines and the drama is something deeper, a reminder that faith, truth, and courage can still shine in an industry that often forgets them. Stay tuned. There's more to come. Thanks for watching. Keep it and stay tuned. Like and subscribe our channel. Have a good day.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man. This story right here, it could be some truth to it, but I just looked up David Mann and or his wife is they net worth. Oh man, I went to the different page. My bad. Looking for more stuff. Dude, their net worth is $6 million, or his net worth. It says David Mann's estimate net worth is worth $6 million. Other people estimated to be around $18 million. Then they say that they be putting him and his wife together jointly. And they said $35 million. I don't think nobody can be mad at that. One of the things you have to do in any situation, if you think you better than the head person, then let's say that again. I heard a pop. If you think you better than the head person, then prove it. Prove it. Get from under the head person. Don't sit there and complain. You know, he waited. He probably held his tongue and waited and waited. And after Meet the Browns, I watched it a couple of times, but I didn't think that Mr. Brown with all them colorfuls, and I didn't like his character. I didn't think he was funny. I didn't, I saw what they trying to do, but maybe it's a church type humor of this psychedelic clothing that he was wearing. I didn't think he was all that. But what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to find the truth out about what's going down with Tyler Perry and that little boy. Oh, we said we was going to do two. So this is shout out to Too strong. Too strong, man. We talk on the phone a lot and everything and all that stuff. So hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's see what the Too Strong crew got to
Tyler
say.
Perry has been the butt of many jokes and also the topic of many controversies. I remember one time that even South Park took a jab at him by having him be one of the most hated but known comedians of the time in his character of Medea, to the point where they started poking fun at even the black community. Now, hear me out. What they said was every black person has seen a Tyler Perry movie and thought they was funny, but they didn't really know why they thought he was funny. They just thought he was funny because he was funny. Even asking one of the characters on there why he thought it was funny. Well, I don't think he's funny. And then they would have him pop up on the screen and say, oh, Lord. And all of a sudden, every black person would start laughing on the screen. And that was the kind of stuff that was going around for a long time. Now, more recently, he has been under more fire than gratitude. And for the most part, a lot of lawsuits that have been coming out about him and accusations to him has been to the kind of conversation that he took advantage of somebody sexually, mostly men, and he was coercing them into certain activities. Taking a look at his history, it kind of lends credence to that might have been his natural behavior for a long time, and we just didn't take a look at it. We never really gandered it because, to South Park's credit, he went across as funny. He did all of the antics that the black community thinks is normal. He took a character that most consider a black female older to act like, the one that doesn't care, the one that doesn't have any license for their mouth, the one that acts completely lambastic. He took that stereotype, planted into a character, and everybody ran with it. Medea went absolutely viral. Everybody was talking about Medea for a long time. But then we started to recognize a pattern. For every time he did a movie about the black community, it was always the stereotypical approach that he took. Never once did he create a movie or show where it didn't exploit the negativities of black communities. Never emphasize anything positive. You can go back and check any movie you want, whether that be the portrayal of an angry, degenerate man, a gay man, or a angry, independent black female who had to have everything her way. Or better yet, the breaking down of the family where the father didn't want to be around, or the man couldn't handle the woman. You name it. You pick the most stereotypical seeing of the black community, Tyler Perry pushed it at every turn. So what we decided to do was bring attention to it for one very specific purpose. And I do understand that there are people that hate when we polarize to one side and speak to a specific diaspora people. But guess what? Sometimes that's needed. And in this case, it's very much needed. In fact, I will also speak to the other diaspora people because they're also ones that push this narrative and also perpetuate it by liking Tyler Perry. If you go back to most of his movies like Sisters, or The Medea Homecoming, or Bruh, or Loving You Is Wrong, or Assisted Living, you name it, you can find all of these characters littered throughout it. And if they're not the main character, they end up becoming that. They always seem to be either violent, angry, or gay. And every time you show this, it actually has a massive impact on the culture because he knows how to market this. Even to the point where even Medea going to jail, and for the why she went to jail, the character she, I'm not saying that it is a she, for that character going to jail and her reaction after getting out, all of it was a play on the stereotype of the black community. Even if you go to any of his movies about church, it always played into the secular version of a stereotypical black this and black that. In other words, to Tyler Perry, the black community is nothing more than a stage play. They're a means to an end to money. He doesn't want the stereotypes to go away, nor does he want to push anything of the positivity that happens in it. He has to get to the black people this message that you are by nature degenerates, but it's funny. Stay degenerates because it's funny. Be dysfunctional because it's funny. In fact, he will tell you most black men are operating on the DL. Almost every one, probably 98% of his movies where men are involved in it and they have a spouse or a significant other in the movie, end up having, if not an attraction to, an effectual action done with another male. If you think I'm wrong, go back and watch for yourself. Every last moment that he can find to create a gay character of a black male or put one in a dress or act like he's absolutely worthless, he will do. He will either be a deadbeat, he'll be one that's left and finally came back, he'll be one that does less than the mom, he'll be the one that the mom doesn't want, he'll be the one that doesn't listen, he'll be the one that's trampled on, he'll be the one that's weak, or he'll be the one that's gay. Every time. So you have to ask yourself this question: why? What gave him this inclination to do this particular type of content and it be so successful? The first question is this: because he knows what he sees. He knows how to exploit. He knows how to market. Secondarily, he knows that
Okay.
his content has become almost pop culture, and he realizes that what he does, people will imitate. Whether that be by decision making or by happenstance, they imitate it. He also knows he has the media on his side. The majority of media wants this particular outcome for the black community. They want black males to become more effeminate. That's by design. Tyler knows this. Tyler promotes this. Tyler loves this. This is an entire grift. Everybody he collaborates with is on board with his design. Every last one of them, up to and including even Oprah Winfrey. If you were to take a look back at any of his movies that he has done that has a collaboration with that person, or has at least an intonation of, say, people getting married, or somebody about to get married, or somebody just fresh out of a marriage, you'll see two things in common. The woman coming out of it becomes very promiscuous. And once they become promiscuous, they become very angry. And once they become very angry, you'll see them make all kinds of money. And then they go back to their promiscuity. And then they eventually settle down after they become old and nobody wants them. Watch and tell me if I'm wrong. Then the men will be the reason that the woman leaves. The man will become depressed. The man will find some other dude. He becomes a little bit gay, goes back into the market to find another girl, and does the same cycle over. He never recovers from it. The movie Why Did I Get Married To? All dysfunction. All of it is dysfunction. Showing once again that if you can portray it in either humor or have a satirical story to add to it, people will mirror it in real life. He knows this. Look, Tyler can be a lot of things, but he's definitely not silly. He's not stupid. He's a psychologist. He knows exactly what it would take to manipulate a certain brand of people. Because of the people he hangs out with and the connections he's made, he has become a puppet for those who want the black community to suffer. He's being paid as a destroyer of the black community. What little integrity we have left, he's trying to remove. What little family dynamic we have going, he's trying to kill. This has always been his goal. Medea has been one of the most detrimental characters outside of Flip Wilson and the rest of those people who have come before him. He has mastered the art of black destruction. Absolutely mastered it. And many follow him willingly into this hole to the tunes of billions of dollars in worth. And has he changed a single thing? No. He either pushes that or racism at every other turn, then complains that he's not seen in the right light. Movies like Temptation, where they just show blatant disregard for marriage. It's obvious that he does not have the creativity to make Black Americans thrive. But he does have one thing in his corner that is working for him: support. So the question is, why do Blacks support him so much? Is it because he's Black that we support him? Is it because he says that he's Black and he's for the Black community that we support him, even though you can look and tangibly see that he is for the destruction? What is it that forces us to keep putting money and time behind this man? That is still the dilemma we are facing right now. Not a single time has he done one thing to help in any Black community that he's ever touched. Not a school, not a fund, nothing. But his movies, they're hilarious. Hello. Anyway, we thought we'd bring this particular thing to your memory because it's been going on for such a long time. And he has even more projects coming up. He hasn't even outlived his youthfulness. And people keep saying, yes, keep backing him because he is the first real Black self-made billionaire. And we can't afford to cut him down because he's a Black man. Why would you cut a Black man? Because this Black man has been cutting down Black men for decades. That's why. He is a pariah. He's a thorn. He's a nuisance. He is a plague on the Black community. He does not care about the Black community. He exploits the Black community, all while doing what he does in his own private life and portraying it on screen, and nobody seems to see. This has been going on for I don't know how long, and we have just been lapping it up. While it's being reiterated and copied in our society, and more you see the destruction of Blacks everywhere. And the few that make it out are being called all kinds of names. The one that rebel against this destruction are called all kinds of names. All we want is for the family to thrive and to grow healthily. Why is that bad? Why are we perpetually listening to somebody who wants it dead? He wants Black men to operate in a certain fashion just like him, to be miserable and to never procreate. That's his goal. He wants women to remain angry and at the forefront so they also remain miserable and can't procreate. Tell me how that helps. If all I do is harp on the negative things you do and make you believe that is all you'll ever be, how is that helping you? But then my statement is, well, that's how you act. I mean, you do have a trait like that, so I'm just pointing out the obvious. Don't you think it's funny that we always do that? After a while, you got to wake yourself up and think, hold on. Why is it that he's always dogging us? Why is he always acting like we don't do anything right? Why? What is up with that? Well, now we know. His plan has never been to help. His plan has been to harm. Hopefully these lawsuits will prove that to people. He says he's fighting them, but we generally believe they're real. Based on how he has portrayed himself and what he's been doing, it is not far-fetched for him to be this way. At the end of the day, though, you have to make your own choices. We're just pointing something out to you, and if you don't want to see it, you don't see it. If you don't see it, you don't see it. But if it turns out to be true, don't say you weren't told. Don't say you weren't warned, and don't say we didn't say something. But at the end of the day, your choices, you have to make them, not us. But as far as we can see, there is nothing positive about Tyler Perry, and all he wants is the removal of the Black race from this earth.
Wow. Man. Hey, my man, he speaks, Sean. When he speak, he speak. Definitely got to give him a thumbs up. Golly. He right. He right. He is right. He is right. He is right. And I am waiting to see what's going to happen with this case. Because of Tyler Perry in this case, I was going to sign up to get the case law straight from the internet because, it's public records, but you got to pay a fee. And I ain't got no money. Anyway, man, David Mann is a prime example of if you don't like what's happening at your job, you go get another job or you start your own job. If you don't like what's happening at your job, that's the boss. Just like my job, man. She finally let up right when I was ready to leave. I'm like, damn, I know you was gonna be this easy. I was recording videos and doing YouTube videos at work. Yeah, that's crazy. And making beats, I had all the equipment and stuff. I had microphones, cameras, and everything at my desk. And then somebody snitched on me. So I said, man, I'm leaving anyway. Bye. Anyway, I'm still searching, man. So y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. I'm trying to stay up on what's going on with the Tyler Perry case and everything, and TD Jakes. None of these people was in the Diddy trial. Man, they did a quarter of the Diddy trial. They ain't do the full Diddy trial. I know they didn't. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. Let me know if you're an ender. Leave me a comment. Peace.